Bobby, hey, congratulations. And I guess, first of all, what everybody will always tell you, thank you for your service.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
Hey, so tell us how you got involved and why you wanted to be a part of this documentary, Live Well Done. I mean, a lot of people want to tell your story, obviously.
Yeah. I get a lot of people talking about, how to share my story, whether it's, write a book, continue speaking and stuff like that. But I think to make a documentary really captures it more. You get to be part of it and see it live. I mean, I can write and tell you that I'm doing this or doing that, or that I'm such a great person, or I'm making these changes in people's lives. But I don't want to be just telling you that. I want people to be able to see that transformation of maybe when I go in and I talk to a high school, how I see the kids transform when they first go in there and they're just kind of looking at me like, okay, who's this guy? What's wrong with him? What's going on? And, and they kind of do my bio to introduce me, but they're high school kids. They're not really listening at this point. They haven't quite got their attention yet. And then as I start to go into the story more and I learn more about me, and then especially by the time I come around to talking about doing comedy, they didn't expect that part. And it just kind of catches them. You see them like stop looking at their phones, stop whispering to their friends, and their attention's all there. To see that transformation is amazing. It scares me every time. I mean, you're talking to a bunch of high schoolers. That's always scary. And you'd hope, whether it's high school, whether it's a professional business that's having a seminar, whenever I go to tell my story, it's always even scary for me. Are they going to get it? Will they understand? Will it help somebody? And it hasn't failed yet. There's always at least one person that that you were there that day, at least for them, and that makes it worth it. So I think if we can capture that in a documentary, it'd be more powerful to show it that way.
Absolutely. Now, for those people who don't know your story, can you kind of retell your story? I know you probably told it, 1,000, 10,000 times, but there's still a lot of people. I mean, this is the purpose of the documentary, is to tell that story.
Correct. Yes. A lot of people might know who I am. Some people have no idea. Some people think I was on Dancing with the Stars, but it was a whole nother burnt guy. I know we all look alike. JR's a good friend, good guy. But I do stand-up comedy. I did 4 tours of Iraq. I got blown up by an IED during my last tour. I was the sole survivor of the 5 men in the vehicle. Going through my healing and process of in the hospital, 6 months in the hospital, 3 years recovery with surgeries and physical therapy, occupational therapy. I used my humor through all that. That's what got me through any hard time. I think anybody that's going through a hard time, we all do it. It's a healing mechanism. We know that as a human, that when we can laugh at it, it helps us get through things. And so I use it as a defense mechanism, and I use it to let people know it's okay. People that knew me before, like, oh, it's still him. No matter what I look like on the outside now, that's still Bobby. And by doing that, other than the hospital, I could help even the staff that was helping me when they were having a bad day. So it was important to keep going like that and doing that with the friends I knew in the hospital and the other wounded veterans. But then one of the hospital staffs, my occupational therapist, said, you should do stand-up comedy. And I thought, well, this is crazy. This works here. It's funny. But a bunch of wounded veterans, we have a 6th sense of humor. Hospital staff, has that 6th sense of humor for the job they do. It's just something you got to do to do those jobs. But I didn't think it was going to work. So she nagged and nagged me until I tried stand-up comedy. So now it's been 12 years since she talked me into going on stage the first time. And I've been trying to prove her wrong ever since.
You're such a natural Patch Adams at the hospital. Did you always had this humor before all this?
Yeah, I definitely would say I had a sense of humor, whether everybody thought I was funny or not. I thought I was funny. But I was always I wanted to help somebody no matter what it was. I didn't care what it was. I wanted to help them feel better. It also helped me. I wasn't the brightest kid in the class. So for me, that was my defense mechanism, not being smart. I can be funny. That's my little skill, and I made people laugh, and maybe got distracted to teachers when I really wasn't getting a good grade.
I've seen some of your stand up online, of course, and I notice a lot of jokes are self-deprecating about your life and the incidents involved. Why do you, isn't it tough to find humor on the dark ends of what happened to you?
Yeah, there's definitely a time when it was hard to find that, but it comes easier as you get used to it. I started doing comedy 2 years after, but it really wasn't until the third year that I was really comfortable with the way I looked and accepted that this is what I look like now. It was really hard. Kept comparing back and forth. Oh my God, I look like this. And I got some scars, and you try to be tough, and you kind of fake the funk for a while. But really, it took 3 years to get used to how I look. And then it just came more natural. And again, as I learned how it helped others, it made it easier to have fun with it.
So, tell us about this documentary on what is it comprised of? Is it just mostly following you on tour, and how comfortable are you in front of the camera rather than a live audience?
Yeah, it's funny on camera, whether you're doing an interview or they're filming you doing a show, that's easy. It's the harder part when you're talking to someone and you're sharing and you're being very vulnerable, person to person, and that's when it gets harder. But after a while, you forget it's there. I've done a couple of little films and little things here and there, and I remember at first being very nervous, and then you're always like, oh, the camera's right there. But eventually, you get so involved in what you're doing that you forget the camera's there. And so I know the initial part's going to be scary again, having the camera there, because then you're worried about, did I pick my nose? Do I look funny? Something out of place? Do I have this? I forget to trim the nose hairs. You start worrying about all that stuff at first. That's me. It's life. I'm human. But yeah, it's gonna be fun. We're not sure how we're gonna do it exactly. Things can change. It depends on how much we're able to raise to do the documentary. We're gonna make it the best we can make it. We may have some other veterans following along with me as we do this along the way. And of course, we're going to run into, because I only speak to high schools and businesses. I go to wounded veterans, if I could talk, wounded veteran retreats. And then I have a nonprofit also that does wounded veteran retreats. So we come to some of the stuff that I do with the nonprofit too, to see that and how we help each other out through healing.
Now, don't get me wrong. A lot of veterans, they suffer through the horrors of war. Both Iraq and now Afghanistan. Are we going to see a more vulnerable side, and is it difficult for you to revisit all of this?
Yeah, you'll definitely see a side of me that gets cracked open, and I let it out here and there on social media at times, but it never gets captured in the moment. It's always me talking about it afterwards. When I really go to that deep, vulnerable spot, whether it's breaking down because of a memory and tears, sharing a story with somebody, or it's me having a bad day. That's capturing that stuff. When I'm in my dark times, I still have them today. I don't think they'll ever go away. I've learned to live with them, and that's the thing we try to teach each other, is how to live with these moments and live a better life with them. And so you'll see that when I want to shut down, when I'm just like, get away from me, or I get depressed, or my anxiety when I'm about to pass out in the grocery store because I'm getting dizzy from my anxiety, and it makes no sense. You're like, why? Nothing's going on, but inside my body, I've gotten pretty good at hiding that. But with the camera on you 24/7, it's a lot harder to hide that, and I don't want to hide it. I want to show exactly what's in and try to talk through it. Like I'm able to do with my fiance. I'm able to talk to her and tell her kind of what's going on. She can kind of see when it's happening too. But and then sometimes in the middle of it, I'm like, okay, I can't talk right now. Just let me breathe right here, and then I will come back to it later and share what I was going through at the time. And that helps her in the future. Okay, he's feeling this way. because she's going about her thing. Oh, we're gonna need this over here. We gotta do this, and she's not realizing something, whether it was something I saw, a smell, or maybe it's just, it could be the way we're going through the store, unorganized, and it's hitting the anxiety button there.
It sounds like you have a great circle of friends and family that support you along the way, including your stand-up.
Yes, definitely friends in the business, friends around me all the time. I try to keep those positive people around me, and I definitely have that love and strength around me for sure.
Now, obviously, this is still currently under production. Your documentary. Could you talk about where is it at now, and I'll go ahead and plug in that Indiegogo link. Was it livewelldone.com?
Yes, yeah, Live Well Done on Indiegogo. Raising funds to help make it even a better film, and like I said, it's planning the where we're going to be, what's going to happen. COVID's going to make it tougher. We're in the pre-production right now, getting everything ready, but we don't know what we're going to be allowed to do. That's the other frustrating side and hard part about doing it right now. And of course, I like to do things the hard way, apparently, is we don't know what we're going to be allowed to do. Will there be another shutdown? Will there be riots going on again, the way everything's going? With current events, I don't know. But I think with what's going on with everything, we need something out there like this. We need something more light and be able to laugh and bring smiles to people's faces through everything that's happening, for sure.
Before I forget, where do you draw your humor from? I mean, obviously it's from the experiences from the war, but there's other humor around, your life and whatnots, right?
Yeah, there's friends, family. I have 4 children, 3 grandchildren. You'll hear more about them as they're getting older, for sure. As those grandchildren start coming to my life, and I have 3 of them. My oldest granddaughter is turning 7 this month, and it's so cute because she's been calling me Burnt Paw for 7 years, and it's one of the funniest things to see is when we're in public together and she's Burnt Paw this, Burnt Paw, they have all those questions at that age, and every question starts with Burnt Paw, can we do this? Burnt Paw, why is that? And people are just looking at, what'd she just call him? So it's just, yeah, family, friends, and everything in life. There's just stuff, and of course there's a lot of dark stuff that maybe it's too soon to laugh at, but we'll see what we can tackle.
You know what? I can't wait to check out this documentary. I think it's going to be inspirational. But hopefully, when this documentary comes out in a few years, what is the one most important lesson that you hope that people would actually take away after, hopefully, when they have a chance to see this documentary?
Yeah, I think my biggest message at the end of it all is how we can help each other be more positive. In life, there's a negative ripple that flies around constantly, the negativity. But what about throwing that positive rock in the water and setting that positive ripple along the way and help more people in a positive way? After I got injured, being on Survivor, I said one of my main missions is with speaking and comedy is to help more people than that guy's ever hurt. And that's the best revenge I can get for the 4 men. And so that's what I want to do with this film, is help more people and more people.
I am so glad, Bobby, that you survived and you found a refound purpose in your life. And I think you're going to be inspirational to hundreds and thousands of people. Thank you very much for speaking to us about your potential documentary, Live Well Done.
Thank you. I appreciate you having me on and sharing my story. Thank you.
Thank you. Next time.
All right.